What's going on, everybody? Mr. Corey Wayne Anderson here. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what day it is. I think it's like January 20th. Just record it, brother. I want to thank everybody for the support throughout the years, and also for the encouragement to keep making videos, start making videos again. I know I used to make videos all the time. I used to read books. I was on my journey of my own spiritual enlightenment, my own expanded awareness. And, as we get older, we learn more about this life that we live, the necessities that must be met, the resources that we must have. Oh man, it's just so strange. It's already almost been a year since I put out my last video. And right now it feels like a whole new thing to me. This last comment I got, I want to thank you so much for it. On my last vlog, I will check out that video. I completely agree with you. Metaphysics has been demonized by not only Christians, a lot of religions, for many reasons, right? It comes from the orthodox way of thinking about beliefs, and the Message of New Thought, Abel Allen talks about it. It worked for its time, but we no longer live in that time. It doesn't mean the religion is wrong. One thing we need to think about and understand, not all religions, but I'm using Christianity and Catholicism as an example. These are two religions that came from the same thing, right? They came from the Book of Life. They came from the Bible. The Bible is still the central point of these two religions, even though these two religions have two separate doctrines. They come from the same thing. And they're created out of what they believe when it comes to that one thing. Today, with such advancements in science, when you really can connect multiple things together, science reveals the reality of Christ, and that's what New Thought does. New Thought reveals the reality of Christ. Just look at it this way: if a man and a woman, a human being in general, is created in the image and likeness of God, and we are told that Christ is the image of God in man, that Christ is the embodiment of God's characteristics within us. God has characteristics, God has principles, God has laws. And these laws are found in wisdom. We know wisdom was present with God since the beginning of time, since all things were created into being, and everything that was created through wisdom. So when you have the wisdom of God in you, you are developing Christ within you. That's how it is. That's how it works. And this is what Christ came to teach and what he came to show us. But religions today are still teaching of Christ as something that we cannot be. But yet in the Book of Life it says itself, by the words of Christ, everything that I do you can do as well. Those aren't his exact words, but those were the meaning behind his words. That, hey, all that I do you can do too. All you need to do is listen and understand, right? He gave us his parables. He gave us law through words and stories. So back to the science of today. The book of life is a story, not saying it's not real. It's a recorded story of how these laws worked in these people's lives. And, it's a lot of things have changed throughout this last decade since I've started making videos. I've changed a lot, I've grown a lot, I've understood a lot about a lot of things. I mean, who I need to be and how I need to be it is one of the biggest things that I've been realizing. Right? You could have something the world needs, but you need to bring it to them in a specific way, in a certain way. And that requires me to be a specific person, which we know we can be that person, right? Life is choice. We get to choose who it is that we want to be. We have the power to choose our thinking, what thoughts that we want to have. And the thing about thoughts, it's thought, as Hanel explains, being the creative principle of the universe. Right? God thought all things into existence, for God is everything. This infinite, invisible consciousness, this source of our reality that permeates all space, is omnipotent in power, omnipresent in presence, and omniscient. It's all powerful, it's all wisdom, it's everywhere, and it's immortal. It's been here since the beginning of time, and it's going to be here even after time, for time itself came from consciousness, came from this infinite source, and being created in the image of God, as we are told through the book of life. We are conscious beings. We are consciousness, and we're not separate from God like these religions teach. We're one with God. We're united with God. God is within us, as we are told directly from the book, that we are the temple of the living God. And as the temple, God is within us, right? We don't need to make our hair grow. I use this example all the time. We don't need to digest our food. We don't need to tell ourselves, hey, you're getting this much protein or you're getting this much carbohydrates. Our body does this itself, renews itself. New skin, your fingernails grow, right? All these things happen automatically. They happen under the direction of an intelligence within, and this intelligence we know is nature's intelligence. It's God's intelligence. And being an embodiment of it, you are an expression of this intelligence. You are this expression by law. Therefore, that makes you God in the flesh, by law, by nature. Now, to really have this, is what Christ was really focused on getting to people, to really have this God, to really have God in you, you have to be conscious of it. You have to be aware of it. You have to embody its characteristics and express it in form. I believe it was the Science of Being Great when Wallace D. Wattles talks about, what exactly was he saying? For God created man so he can express himself in form. We came about for God to be able to express itself in a legitimate human form, in whatever type of form. And in the Message of New Thought, Abel Allen explains how he mentions another speaker that they said man is God thinking, right? We are God thinking in this flesh. When we really look into it, how can it be otherwise? Right? How can it be otherwise? Heaven is not something that is just separate from us. I do believe that there is a life beyond this life if this intelligence is infinite in its vibrational frequency, and we as humans are living at this specific reality of vibration, then beyond this reality, there's another reality of vibrational realm, right? There's another reality of just life. I believe in angels. I believe in demons. They're real. I know they're real. And just because we can't see them with our physical eyes or hear them with our physical ears does not mean that they're not real, right? We know certain species on the planet can see X-ray vision, things on the X-ray scale. We know the X-rays are real because we have instruments that can record it, even though we can't see on that realm, that frequency. So there's so much to this life, and I'm gonna put this video out there regardless if I think it's good or not. And I started, I want to share this with you too. I'm building New Thought again. When I was younger, my dream was to be the world's greatest life coach. Today, I still think about it all the time today, but it's not like how it used to be. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. The way I was about it when I was younger, I was so enthusiastic, and there's nothing wrong with enthusiasm. But we're capable of doing more than just being a life coach, right? I've learned a lot about business. I've learned a lot about entrepreneurship. I've learned a lot about people. I've learned a lot about capitalism. Learned a lot about our government, just how this world is, and these man-made laws and ideals that we all have given consent to live by. And in the message of New Thought, Abel Allen does talk about the necessity of having government. We do need a government, but with the ideal of New Thought being about progress. Now, he explains New Thought as a progressive idealism, but when we think about progressivism, we're talking about the legitimate, real act of progress, the progression that is in alignment with nature's laws, in alignment with God, not this BS progressivism that's going on in our world today under the banner of democracy. Right, this woke movement, whatever you want to call it, or this, it's like I look at it, I feel that they've taken a lot of what New Thought teaches, but they've misconstrued it to be toward the detriment of our humanity than to actually progress our humanity. Right, we all grow, we all progress, we all desire progress. If we get into something, we want to do better at it, we want to get further along with it so we can live and manifest higher experiences when it comes to it. Alright, that's just natural. Right, it's progress, and that's New Thought's ideal of progressivism. You're progressing through whatever you want to do, and you're doing it in alignment with these universal laws. Right, today men believe and want to be women, and you have women that want and believe they can be men. Now, I'll leave that conclusion for you to decide, because who am I to say what you need to think about it? I personally think it's ridiculous, but it also shows the divisions between our being, right? Because we are multidimensional beings. We're spiritual, we're mental, and we're physical. But we know that once spirit reaches a molecule, it takes on its own individual property. If everything's made out of the same thing, how can it turn into something that's different and express itself as something that's different? The human being is made out of these molecules. We're made out of these chemicals. We're made out of atoms. And once it reaches the molecular state, turns into a chemical, comes together, becomes the cell. Those cells come together to create the man. They take on their own property. I've said it before, one thing that makes a man is his level of testosterone. It's a chemical. One thing that makes a woman is her level of estrogen. Men and women both have estrogen and testosterone. It's just the difference in the level of chemical, how much of that chemical is present and being created by the body. And that creation, of course, goes back to our XY chromosome, XX chromosome, and that's inherently put into our DNA. It's from our DNA. It's from something that even we came from. So it'd be ridiculous not to be in alignment with what we already are. And a lot of things in this life are not to our choosing. A lot of things we experience aren't always things that we want to experience. It's just life. But regardless of that, with the law of cause and effect and causality and being the center of consciousness and causation, we still have the power to set causes in motion regardless of what we experience or go through. Now, I know that might be the viewpoint that they're taking on, but the way this movement, this woke movement, so to speak, goes about it is detrimental. It's a sickness. It's an illness, a mental and spiritual illness. Back to these other things. I'm almost 31, and I started building New Thought again under New Thought Society. I have it on YouTube. We started again several months ago. So far, we had the message of New Thought out, and we have Master Key System out. We're currently in the middle of recording and putting the history of New Thought out. And we're going to be getting to the point again where we are going to need to be recording like we were before and explaining what these books are teaching and what these people are talking about. And everything else that I had planned to do. I ended up working at Walmart. I used to be in trucking. I need to get back into trucking. I need to get back on this path that I was on. I had made some mistakes on the road, not very proud of them, and ended up costing me my position. I was in a situation I had to make a choice, ended up being the wrong choice. And it's okay, that's what led me out to where I am today. They weren't exactly what I had planned on happening, but that was my best thinking at the time, and I'm not afraid to share it, speak about it. It was my fault. It was my fault. Now, regardless of then, it's what are we going to do now? Now it's just get up again, do it again, do better this time, and to think differently about it. Right? That's the key. It all leads back to how are we going to think differently about it? Because we know thoughts create actions, thoughts create behavior dictates actions, and actions are what bring about results on the external plane. And we can use our thoughts to attract situations and circumstances in our life. But when those things manifest in form in front of us, we have to take action on what we manifested. When we take action, we take that next step, right? We have to act upon it. If we don't seize the opportunity with action, then we let that what we had attract go. Now, it doesn't mean it's gone forever. We could re-attract it in a different form, right? When it comes in a different form, then you have to act upon it then when the time comes. And we know the law, right? We know how to program ourselves through visualization and thinking. So there's nothing that can stop us other than us. When it comes to anything in this world, there's nothing that can stop you from doing the thing that you want to do but you. You just need to learn how to think correctly about it, and to think about it and act upon it. When I was younger and I was working on New Thought Millennia, I had this grand vision of changing everything, changing the world, changing people, changing education, changing this, changing that. Today, it's not about any of that, right? Today I want to live. I want to live my life. I want to have a family. I want to have my own house. I want to be of service to my society, but I still want to be a human being and live a regular human life. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't set something in motion to be able to accomplish all of those things, but for me, will it happen in this lifetime? Who knows? I can't say it will. I can't say it won't, right? We can't just force things down people, right? We can't just force them to be or think a certain way. All we can do is attract them to something new and to present something that will give them the ability to do the things that they want to do. And I named it Millennia because of idea that it was going to be the millennia. This was the 1,000 years that the Bible spoke of, so to speak, that we would have peace on earth. And I think about it today, that may happen. As we say, who's to say it won't, right? We live in a universe of infinite possibilities. It could, but it doesn't really matter anymore. Like I said, other people make their own choice, and rightly so. We would have to choose as a collective consciousness to embody it. So with our new channel, it's just New Thought Society. It's something that it's simple, it's clean, it gets direct to the point. And, still believe it's going to help a lot of people. I know it's going to help me. It's helped me tremendously with a lot of things. It helped me understand myself and what we're capable of doing as humans. In the message of New Thought, Abel Ellen explains how man hasn't even discovered the threshold of greatness of which he is capable of being. With what we think is great today is not even scratching the surface of what we're capable as humans. We know Donald Trump, we know Elon Musk, we know these men that are presented to the world and that are doing phenomenal things. And you hear Elon talk about his desire to preserve the light of consciousness, right? Elon Musk is on the threshold and understands the information Whether he's New Thought or not, he understands the information that New Thought teaches. It's all backed and leads back to human consciousness. His goal is to preserve the light of consciousness. That's why he's doing what he's doing. Now, if a man like that is doing what he's doing for the reason of preserving consciousness, wouldn't you think too how important it is to develop your own consciousness, and how much of a miracle it is for us to be alive in these bodies as humans? What time is it? I gotta go. I gotta work in 14 minutes. Shit. Thankfully, I'm not even 10 minutes away from here. Alright. I'll be making more videos under this channel. It's gonna be more under New Thought Society. Now, you'll see me there. And love you all. Bye-bye.